Okay, so I did a whole separate section on how to do navigational links. I did that in CS6. It's kind of basically the same. There really isn't that much difference, but I'm going to show you here how to do this in the cloud version. So you've already put your links in, as you can see here. So you can see the home, site, seeing, eating out, etc., already set up as links. And by default, the browser displays them in blue and an underlined text. So when a link has been visited, it turns purple. So this is just by default. This indicates that the browsers are aware of the status of the links. With CSS, you can style your links not only in their default and visit state, but also when the mouse points hovers over them at the moment the link is clicked and when it gets focused from the keyboard. So these are important things to understand as you're working in your file. So we're going to introduce to you in this session CSS pseudo classes. So CSS uses what are known as pseudo classes. A pseudo class is similar to a state in that it can be applied to multiple elements in a page. However, unlike a class, you can't add it to the HTML markup. You simply define it in your style sheet, and the browser applies it automatically depending on the link's current state. So all pseudo classes begin with a column, and they're appended directly to the selector. There are 5 pseudo classes used with links. The first 2 in the following list are used exclusively with links. The other 3 can also apply to other elements. So we're going to go through the different links that you're going to have. If you have the page, you can read it off the page as I'm going through this. So you have your link, this style links in their unvisited state. So this is what it looks like when you first look at the page. Then you have the visited, this style links that has been visited. You have the hoover. This styles an element when the mouse pointer is hovering over them. You have the active. This controls what an element looks like at the moment it is being clicked. And then you have the focus. This indicates that the element has focus. For example, when using the tab key to navigate around a page. The most important thing to remember about pseudo classes is the order they appear in your style sheet. They must be in the same order as in the preceding list. So you see this list here, they have to be in the same exact order. You have to have link, visited, hoover, active, and focus right straight in a row. And this is very important to understand when you're working with CSS style sheets. If you change the order, the styles won't be applied correctly. So the CSS Designer Code hint helps you by listing the pseudo classes in the correct order. So you'll see that as you're working with it. Many designers use this little kind of this statement here, like love, hate. So you can remember it in the order. So LVHA for link, visited, hoover, and active. So we're going to create our basic link styles. So the first letter in CSS stands for cascading because most properties are inherited or cascaded down the HTML structure. This has the advantage that you don't need to repeat properties unless you want to override them. To style links effectively or efficiently, you create a basic style that affects links in any state and use the pseudo classes to override specific properties. Okay, so we're going to just make our very first style, and this is a very simple one. Just make sure that you have main selected, and I'm going to select right here where it says add a selector, and I'm just going to simply put in A. Okay, so this will style links in all states. In the text section, just hit enter to put it in. I'm going to go right straight to the text selection here, and I'm going to select bold for weight. And in text decoration, I'm going to select this to none. That's right here, and just select that because I don't want that line anymore. So you can see now all of a sudden your text over here has changed. You can see that the line has gone away and the text has become bold. So I'm going to create another new selector and make sure that you're on main. I'm going to select right here where it says positive. and I'm going to call this one a link. You can just copy and paste it from that paper if you like. So I have my paper open right now, and I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste it. So you can copy and paste all these. It may be a little easier when you start getting into some of the longer lists that you need to copy and paste. I'm just going over there to do that right now. I'm just going to put that in. I'm going to put a little plus sign. You'll notice that it's trying to help you too. You'll notice that every so often it will automatically put something in for you. The best thing to do is just to get rid of it. Just hit the minus sign right here. Okay, so now that I have that selected, I've already selected what the style that I want for my text. So I'm going to go into the text category, and I'm going to select the color orange right here where it says text. Select text, and right here it says color. I'm going to put in the color orange here. This I'm going to write in because sometimes it doesn't paste in correctly. And I hit enter. And you see how your text is changing, the color is changing over on the other side. So now I'm going to make another one here, and I'm going to change the color for the visited. So you notice that it still is remaining underlined because it has the A property here. So we're going to do A for visited. So we're going to do another one. We're going to add another selector. And I'm going to do the same thing. Start with the A. And you notice that it's popping up. And the next one is going to be visited. So you can just actually select it right here and hit enter. So now we have two styles. We have one for link and we have one for visited. And then I'm going to put this color in for the visited. It's a different color, a lighter shade of orange. So I'm going to go ahead and select text. For the text color, I'm going to put this color in and follow along in the paper. I think it will make it a little easier for you. Okay, so we don't need to have three separate style rules for the remaining pseudo classes. So we're going to create a group for Hoover, Active, and Focus. Now you got to make sure you have the comma in there. The commas are part of the selector indicating that you want the same styles applied to all three, Hoover, Active, and Selected. So let's go ahead and do this. Make sure you're on main again. I'm going to hit positive for selector. And I'm just going to copy and paste this from my page to make sure that I have it written exactly correct. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Like I said, you can just go ahead and copy and paste it in your own file. And just hit enter. Okay. So make sure you have the text selected right here selected. And we're going to set the color. We're going to put the color in for the text. And I'm going to write this in. 7F3300 and hit enter. So now we have this nice dark color, it's a burnt orange color. And we're going to select the text decoration to underline. So you just have to find it right here. Right here is underline. So you're going to turn on the live view if you don't already have that done. Turn it on the live view and you can roll over a link in the unordered list at the top of the page, and your link should roll over with a darker color and underlined. The other links are still bold orange with no underline. So let's just see. As you can see, it's doing that. Okay, you might want to go to your page and just save it. your CSS style sheet, your main style sheet. I think it's kind of important that you remember to do that every so often. You see all the styles you have in there now. You've been creating a lot of styles in your file. You know, they're making it, Dreamweaver has made it really very easy to create style sheets. So the home link is lighter shade of orange because it points to the current page. You can kind of see that. It's kind of a little hard to see that when you're looking at it from my computer. But on your computer, you should see that just a little bit lighter. So now we're going to create a navigational bar in CSS. The link styles you created in the preceding section apply to links anywhere on the page. So all your page should have the same links. If you go down to your page and look at your links down here, you will notice that they have the same links. So we're going to kind of define them and change them a little bit in your navigational bar. So your navigational bar looks more professional and is a little bit different than the links that are on your page. To change the look of the links in a specific part of the page, you have to create styles using descendant selector to override the basic styles. In this section, we're going to use descendant selectors to convert the unordered list of the links at the top of the page into a navigational bar. The process involves removing the bullets and the default padding and margin from the unordered list. The links are then converted into buttons by giving them a width and floating them. Then you style them by changing colors and adjusting the padding. So it's best to do this in the live view, so make sure if you don't have live view selected that you do. So we're going to create a new selector for the main nav UL. So this targets the unordered list nested inside the nav element with the ID main nav. So go ahead and do that. Make sure you have main selected. And like I said, you can just scroll down on the page that I have here. If you want to just copy and paste, it may make it a little bit easier for you. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to select this and copy and paste it. Just saves me time. And I'm going to select over here where it says selector and hit positive. And I'm going to paste this. This program sometimes is a little funky. You have to really watch it. It sometimes pops out. Okay, I'm going to hit enter before I lose it. And now I have main nav right down here, UL. So this targets, like I said, the unordered list nested inside the nav element. So you're going to click the gray out value next to the list style property and select none from the menu. So what you have to do is you have to select the text section right here, and you have to kind of scroll down. It's a little hard to find. It took me a little bit because it's just a little bit different than working in CS6. So you have to scroll down to where it says list style type property. Right here is list style type, and I'm going to just select none. And that's going to take away the bullets over here. You can kind of follow along in a live view and you can see what you're doing. So now I'm going to go to the layout icon, which is the first one. Now I'm going to select the margin and properties on all sides to 0. So what you have to do is you have to click the chain in the middle. Okay, so let's just go to the margin. I'm just going to put a 0 in. Enter. And all of them are going to change. And I'm going to do the same thing for the padding. And all of them are going to change for the padding. So we're going to create a new selector for main nav A. So we see how it's gone all the way to the edge. So we've gotten rid of all that padding right there. So it's a step-by-step process. There's no way of getting around this. That's what you have to do when you're working with CSS. So I'm going to copy and paste this again. So the next one, main nav A. I'm going to go back over to my file. I'm going to hit the plus sign. I'm going to go back down and I'm going to paste. I'm going to hit enter. And bring this up. We're starting to get a pretty big file here with all the styles that we have created so far. So there is no, this will style all the links nested in the nav element with the ID main navs. No pseudo class is being used. So the new styles will affect the links in all states. There are 5 links, so we're going to set the width property to 20%. So we're going to go ahead and set the width property. You just have to find it here where it says width up at the top, and I'm going to select percent, and I'm going to put in 20. Okay, so I have 20. Now I'm going to just set the display property to block. So I have to find the display property. Right here it is. And I'm going to select this to block. And I'm going to set the float property to left. Right down here, float property. And I'm going to select it to left. Okay, so let's just take a peek of what we've got so far. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's just take a peek and see what we have so far. You see your navigation is now starting to look a little bit more like a navigation. It's actually has spanned across the page. So we're going to center the text in each link by setting the text align in the text selection. We got to go to this text selection here. We're going to set this to center. So we have to go right here where it says text align and just select center. Okay, so now you see your navigational bar is starting to look a little bit better. So I'm going to click the background icon and set the background color to a dark gray. Okay, so now you have to find the background icon right here. And you're going to select the background color. We're going to write in this color 4D, 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 and hit enter. Okay, so you can see that you have a background now. I'm not kind of liking that text too much, though. It looks kind of bizarre. I don't really care for that. It looks good against the white, but against the dark color it's looking kind of funny. So I'm going to change my text to white. Now remember, when you're working with your file, you have to think about contrast. Okay? You have to think about making it easy for your user to see the text. I can't see that. And it's very hard to read. If I can't read it, then your text isn't any good. Now you can see how nice it looks down here in your file against the white, but how bad it looks against this color. So I'm going to change this to white. So I'm just going to go ahead and select the text section, which is right here. And the color, I'm just going to simply turn it to white. And hit enter. Okay, so now it's much better. Now we can see this much better. But you know, it's kind of looks like it's kind of suffocating here. I need some little more space on the top and a little more space on the bottom. So this is easy enough to do. We just have to go back to the layout section right here, and where it says padding, we're going to add a little space to the top and a little space to the bottom. So you just have to select padding, which is right here. Let's put 6 up here. And let's put 6 down the bottom too. Now you can adjust yours when you're working on your file to whatever you want. It doesn't have to be exactly like mine. You know, you can change your colors, the backgrounds, your text, and you find out it's really not that hard to do. It just takes a little time. And you have to do it step by step. So the navigation bar is looking a little better now, but the only thing that happens if you mouse rolls over the buttons is that the text is underlined. So this behavior is inherited from the basic link styles. To change the look of the navigational links, when you hover over them, click, or tab to, you need to use the Hover Active and Focus pseudo classes. The same style will also be given to the current page using a class called this page. So we're going to create a new group selector. And this one's going to be kind of long, so you probably want to go and make sure that you are looking at the PDF file that I posted in your classroom, because you're going to copy and paste. It's going to be main nav Hoover, main nav active, main nav focus, main nav A, and this page. So we have to copy and paste it exactly correct. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to copy and paste all this. Make sure I am still at main CSS. I'm going to select new selector right here, and I'm going to go right down here. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to hit enter. So though it's quite long, the CSS designer code hints should speed it up its creation. Take care to make sure you have a dot before this page to the final part of the selector. Is an ordinary class, not a pseudo class. You won't get a code hint for this page because the class doesn't yet exist in the HTML markup. So in the text category, we're going to select the text direction and set it to none. So let's go ahead and do that. And where it says text decoration, we're just going to select none. And then in the background, we're going to set the color to a shade of aquamarine. So where it says background, let's just go to background category. Make sure you go to the correct categories, and we're going to select the background. I'm going to write this in too. It's going to be a blue color. 43A6CB, and then I'm going to hit enter. Okay, so we should be able to start seeing something in a minute here. Hover over one of the links and make sure that you are in live view, and you should see the color change. Okay, so when I hover over it, I have this selected, and I hover over it, I can see my links changing. So, we've got this so far. I really like how it's looking. It's easy to read, easy to see. But now I'm going to turn off the live view for 1 minute. I'm going to go back to the design. And I'm going to select this, my home button. Okay, so when you first come to the page, you want your home button to reflect the fact that your user is on that page. So this should stay blue. This will indicate to the user that they are on the home page of the site. So to do this, we have to add this page class to the home button. So again, like I said, make sure you have live view off and you click design. So click anywhere in the home button right here. Okay, make sure you have the home link selected. And this goes right straight down to the properties panel. And we're going to add a class. I'm going to select this page right down here. You see how it made a class? Okay, so now the home link is going to reflect the fact that you can do this for each page. It's going to tell the user that they are on the home page, and that they can't select this because they're already there. So let's just go ahead and go back to the view, live view, so we can see this. Okay, so it's looking much better now. As I roll over these links, it's telling me that I'm already on the home page. It's not going to roll over. If I was on a sightseeing page, you would want to set that page to this page. So it's just really important to make sure that you do that. But you notice if you scroll down that your links are now staying this nice color and different color when you roll over, and different from your navigational links. And that's what you're aiming for. So I like what I have right now, and I'm going to make sure that I save everything. Make sure I save my file here. Save that. Make sure I save this. Okay, so we're going to stop with this tutorial now, and then we're going to go on. We're going to finish this page up. We're going to put the text on this image and do a few little tweakings, and this page will be done and we'll be finished with our tutorial. There's only one more to finish up.